Hello, welcome to Movie Summaries. Today we are summarizing a 2019 horror and thriller movie called Black Christmas. Fair warning, there are spoilers in this summary. Enjoy, and be sure to subscribe to watch more videos weekly, and hit like. The movie is set at Hawthorne College, which was founded by Calvin Hawthorne in 1819. Calvin famously said that men possess formidable power, which can be further enhanced by proper education. Calvin is a well-celebrated figure, and the university has a bust made in his honor. It's December, and Christmas break is around the corner. A student, named Lindsey, is going home early for the holidays. While she's walking at night, Lindsey receives a creepy message from the university's founder himself. Someone using Calvin Hawthorne's name and picture for their profile. Lindsey notices a man on his phone, seemingly following her. She then gets a threatening text, and she begins to panic. Using her keys as a weapon, she turns around to confront the man, but the man is heading to some other direction. She breathes a sigh of relief when she notices a man wearing a Grim Reaper outfit. Lindsey freaks out and runs in the opposite direction. The man chases her, and she runs to a nearby home and frantically knocks on the door, calling for help. She takes a look back at the Grim Reaper wannabe and realizes that he's disappeared. Moreover, the homeowner finally answers the door, but to Lindsey's horror, another Grim Reaper opens the door and kills her with an icicle. The next day, a final year student, Riley Stone, prepares for her classical class. Although Riley likes to make people around her laugh, she's gone through some shit. You know that cliche saying, people with the brightest smile hide the deepest pain inside, something like that. Riley is an orphan, and she was attacked by a former fraternity president of DKO. A fellow student and sorority sister named Helena approaches her and compliments her on a performance she delivered during a college talent show 3 years ago. When Helena asks Riley how she was so brave and confident on stage, Riley gives her a bullshit answer. She takes out her hair comb that her sorority sister Bex gave her and claims that it gives her the strength and courage she needs. To Helena's astonishment, Riley gives her the lucky comb. After Helena leaves, Riley's friend, Jesse, who watched it all transpire, calls her out for trolling poor Helena. Jesse then asks Riley to wear a revealing red dress for the sorority's annual Christmas dinner, but the latter turns her down. Riley stopped wearing revealing clothes after she was attacked. During her last class of the year, Riley's professor, Gelson, targets her for some reason, but Riley brushes it aside. You know how some teachers target you, without really explicitly targeting you. Outside the classroom, Riley's friend, Chris, is gathering signatures for a petition to have Gelson fired from his job for refusing to teach books written by women. It seems Gelson was targeting Riley because of her friendship with Chris. Chris later asks Riley and another sorority sister, Marty, to sign the petition. At Riley's job at the college coffee shop, a nearby patron, named Landon, overhears their conversation and offers to sign the petition. He seems to have a crush on Riley and awkwardly leaves after getting his order. A frat boy named Phil approaches the girls on the counter to order an iced coffee. He deliberately brings up Riley's abuser, Brian's name, to make her uncomfortable. Chris splashes water on the a-hole's face and sends him away. Marty tells Riley that they can skip the show, but Riley assures her that she will be fine. Riley doesn't want to bail out because Jesse, Marty, Chris, and Helena are participating in the DKO talent show with a dance choreographed by her. The group arrives at the DKO fraternity for their performance and to get ready. However, Helena is missing from the scene, and Riley goes to look for her. As she's looking, Riley catches a glimpse of the strange recruitment ritual of the DKO fraternity. She notices a black goo leaking out of Caleb Hawthorne's bust, which the fraternity's current president applies on the new members. Cringe. The frat guys are also wearing a red costume, which low-key seems similar to the Grim Reaper's outfit from earlier in the movie. Riley then continues looking for her friend and finds Phil forcing himself on a drunk Helena in a room. Riley quickly intervenes and fends him off. After emptying her stomach, Helena comes back to her senses, and Riley sends her back home in an Uber. After learning that Helena left, Chris asks Riley to take Helena's place. Riley is initially hesitant, as her Brian is going to be in the audience, but Chris convinces her. The ladies take the stage and start their performance. Riley sees Brian in the audience and almost freezes, but the other girls give her the courage to continue. The girls blast Brian for attacking Riley and call out the awful assault culture at the fraternity through their performance. The performance produces loud cheers and some boos from the audience. The girls leave the show in high spirits. Landon approaches them outside and compliments Riley's courage. Chris then invites him to join them for drinks, and Riley uses the opportunity to bond with Landon and invites him to the orphans' dinner. Meanwhile, back at the MKE house, Helena receives a creepy message from the same person that texted Lindsey before she was killed. Helena panics and looks outside her room, but she doesn't notice anyone. She again locks herself in her room, not noticing the masked figure behind her. It's over for her. The next day, the girls find some of their stuff missing. Riley notices the black substance she noticed at the DKO house on her cat, Claudette, and speculates that someone from the DKO was at their sorority home. However, Chris brushes her concerns aside, and the friends go to get their Christmas tree. Meanwhile, sorority sister Fran is alone at the home and is killed by the masked man. At the Christmas tree farm, Riley receives a message from the Calvin Hawthorne account, but she decides to ignore it. She also receives a worried call from Helena's mother, who tells her that Helena has not returned home yet. After returning to the house, Riley checks Helena's room just to make sure that she left the sorority house. Oddly, Riley finds Helena's window open. With Lindsey and Helena still not home, Riley gets worried and suggests alerting the campus security, but the other girls convince her against it. However, Riley still feels that something's wrong and goes out for a walk to distract herself. Outside, she receives 2 more creepy yet frightening messages from Hawthorne's account. Sensing that someone has been watching her, she freaks out and runs into the administrative building, where she runs into Landon. Landon is pleased to see her, but she suspects that he could be the one sending her the crazy DMs. However, Landon tells her that he doesn't use social media due to privacy concerns. Riley becomes increasingly worried and decides to report Helena missing. She also tells the campus security about the creepy text she's been receiving, but they seem apathetic and gaslight Riley instead. After a lot of back and forth, the campus guard finally agrees to give the DKO frat house a visit with her. However, they find the frat house locked, and the guard speculates that Helena is probably with her boyfriend somewhere. He tells Riley to get back to him if Helena doesn't come home by tomorrow. What a useless piece of crap. Riley decides to peek inside the frat house, hoping to find Helena when she encounters Gelson. He startles her, dropping his files in the process. Riley helps him collect his documents and notices a list of MKE girls along with the papers he dropped. When Gelson asks her what she was doing, Riley makes an excuse that she was looking for her comb. Gelson offers to take her inside while trying the 100 keys that Phil had given him to open the frat house. Gelson brings up the video of the girl's performance that Chris posted online and reminds Riley about the legal repercussions of publicly leveling accusations against someone. He finally opens the door, but Riley decides against going inside with him. Back at the sorority house, Riley confronts Chris about the unedited video she posted online, where Riley calls Brian out. She also brings up the messed up DMs she has been receiving lately. To her astonishment, Marty reveals that she too has been receiving strange DMs from someone. Fed up of Chris and Riley fighting, Jessie goes to the attic to get the Christmas lights. However, there, she gets attacked by the masked man. Meanwhile, seeing Riley, Chris, and Marty go back and forth about the frat boy, Marty's boyfriend Nate loses it and gets into an argument with her. He implies that the girls deserved the DMs after the stunt they pulled the other day on stage. Enraged, Marty kicks him out of the house. The girls then receive threatening messages from Calvin. Fed up, Chris challenges the person behind the account to show up. The killer accepts the challenge, and arrows start flying into their house before the bow-wielding killer himself shows up. One of the arrows injures Marty's feet. The girls freak out and lock themselves in a room, dropping their phones outside in the process. They quickly realize that they can't make it out alive without their phones, and Riley heads out to retrieve her phone. Meanwhile, Chris goes to the attic to warn Jessie about the killer. However, to her horror, she finds Jessie's dead body upstairs. Riley manages to hide from the killer, but suddenly, Nate returns to the sorority house to apologize to Marty for his words. He finds Riley, who asks him for his car keys after telling him about the killer. Nate tosses her the car keys and challenges the killer to show himself. Oh, what an idiot. The killer shows up and kills Nate in the blink of a second. These people really need to stop summoning the killer. The killer then tries to attack Riley, but she grabs Nate's car keys and attacks him back. Chris and Marty arrive and reunite with Riley. Enough hugging. How about call 911 ASAP? As Riley proceeds to unmask the killer, the 2 other masked men show up. Marty attacks one of the masked men with a hammer, but he blocks her attack and wounds her with the hammer. This gives Riley and Chris enough time to run and hide in the kitchen. The killer looks for them in the kitchen, but he doesn't find them. When the killer leaves, Chris gets out of hiding, but only to realize that the killer is still in the kitchen. He tries to kill her, but Riley and Chris team up to fight the masked man. They turn on the lights and realize that they are covered in black goo instead of blood. Puzzled, they unmask the killer, who Riley identifies as a DKO pledge she saw at the ritual. He has a strange look in his eyes. The pair escape in Nate's car, and Riley speculates that Hawthorne, who was known for dabbling in black magic, is responsible for the killings via his bust and the black goo it emits. Riley suggests that they should go to the DKO and get the bus that powers these subhumans. However, Chris turns down the idea and suggests that they should go to the police instead. Riley doesn't trust the police. This leads to an argument, and Riley heads to the frat house herself. On her way there, Riley encounters Landon, who is on his way to the orphan's dinner. Seeing her wounded and distressed, Landon asks her if she needs some help with anything, and she lets him come with her to the frat house. As Chris is driving by Lindsey's sorority house, she finds that the sorority girls are also being attacked by the DKO pledges and rescues them. At the DKO house, Landon breaks into the house and creates a scene to distract the frat brothers so Riley could break Calvin's bust. The plan works, and Landon soon finds himself surrounded by the boys, who order him to be a pledge. Meanwhile, Riley finds Helena alive in the frat house and rescues her. However, it turns out that Helena is collaborating with the frat brothers, and Riley is knocked unconscious by someone from behind. Riley wakes up to Landon being pledged into the fraternity. Gelson then reveals that when Chris had Calvin's statue relocated to the fraternity, the DKO boys discovered something magical hidden inside. Towards the end of his life, Hawthorne foresaw the threat posed by women, so as a precaution, the Master of Dark Arts left instructions on how to create an army of young men to take the power back. In the recruitment ritual, they read an incantation they found inside the bust, and the spirit of Calvin Hawthorne takes over the pledges, possessing them with supernatural strength and drive. The pledges then go on to attack those who step out of line, while those who are willing to be obedient like Helena are spared. Helena asks Riley to join her and reveals that she compiled the list of the girls who were revolting against the men. Shocked, Riley calls her a traitor. To scare Riley into obedience, one of the pledges murders Helena, despite her willingness to comply. Riley finally agrees to bow to them, but when the frat boys start celebrating, Riley grabs her comb and attacks Brian with it. The pledge quickly subdues her, and Gelson and others turn the other way as the pledge proceeds to kill her. However, Chris and Lindsey's surviving sorority sisters show up and attack the pledge dead with an arrow. An intense battle follows, and amid the chaos, Riley attacks Brian and kills him. The frats eventually overpowered the women, but Riley smashes Calvin Hawthorne's bust, breaking the possession on Landon and the other frat brothers. Chris then sets Gelson on fire and escapes with Landon and the girls, locking the frat brothers inside and leaving them to burn to death. As the traumatized group watches the frat house burn, Riley looks on with newfound bravery. Hope you enjoyed our summary. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos weekly. Thanks.